Hi, Math 1 students. We're taking a look at the Module 9 Formative. We're going to be looking now at page 3 and 4. More particularly, if you look at the top, we're looking at this proficiency 2b, meaning that you can interpret slope and y-intercept. So let's take a look real quickly at number 7. And number 7, it says Maya finds that the more hours she spends house sitting while her neighbors are away, the more money she earns. So she collected the data, she graphed a regression line. So they want us to interpret the slope. And wow, as we begin to look at this, we need to find some friendly points. So we've got this point right here at 0, 2. And, I think if we look right over here, there is another friendly point at 5, 8. So what we can do is make ourselves a little chart, and we can see that we have 0, 2, we have 5, 8. Delta y is going to go up by 6, right? And as we look at delta x, well, you can see that we're going up by 5. So what does that really mean? It means m is delta y over delta x, and that's going to be 6 over 5. But looking at this, interpret the slope of the regression line in this context. For every 5 additional days she house sits. So that's days down here. So as you accumulate 5 days, she earns an additional, right here is money. So that would be $6. So that's, nice and quick. For B, it says interpret the y-intercept. And guys, the y-intercept is plain and simply the point that you have as the line crosses the y-axis. So it's right here, 0, 2. But what we have to do is interpret that meaning. Remember, we have x and we have y. X would be days house sitting. So we could say for 0 days house sitting, Maya earns $2. That would be the y. And that would be the expected and predicted amount. As we're taking a look down here at number 8, I do want to immediately just point out that you always want to pay attention to these, labels and the units. They tell you so much. And as you're looking here, you can see that we have negative association. I think you can see that we've got hours spent on video games. So, what we were doing earlier in the unit is we'd write something like this. As the hours spent on video games increases, so we'd have video games increases, then what? Well, then we can say the hours spent on homework decreases. Now, this is something that we've actually gotten quite good at. Most of you are doing an excellent job being able to write a sentence like that. What you're going to see is if you can write that sentence, interpreting slope is practically writing the same sentence but adding just a little more detail. Your slope is -4 over 3, and here's delta y over delta x. And y, remember, would be hours on homework, and X would be hours on video games. That's why we pay attention to those labels so much. Well, we're going to write that sentence that we did down here, but we're just going to put in a little bit more detail. We're going to write this as the hours spent on video games increases by, and now we look at our slope, 3 hours. And that's right down here. That's your delta x. The hours spent on homework decreases by, and then we look at our delta y, and we can see up there 4 hours. So hopefully that's something that we can easily write. Take a look at this equation, y equals mx plus b. I hope you can see that your b is 23. So we've got 0, 23 for our y-intercept. And they want us to interpret that. Now remember, x is 0 and your y is 23. And you ask, well, what's x again? Well, we can say for 0 hours spent on video games, we expect, or we predict, there are 23 hours spent on homework for that week. Okay? So that's really what we have for that answer. The back page is incredibly similar. The problem is you don't have the scale, the picture with everything given to you, but we can still go ahead and get this made pretty quickly. We've got y equals mx plus b. But I'll tell you what, we really want to pay attention to what we have. We don't have a scale and labels on a graph and or something written out nicely on a table, but they're always going to tell you what x and y are. They need to. And x is the number of hours worked, and y is the money spent, and it's spent on entertainment, right? So your m, interpret your slope. Well, m is the number in front of x. So m is 1.88. Put it over 1 so you can get a fraction. And you'll have delta y over delta x. Remember, y is the money that is spent on entertainment. X is the number of hours that you're going to work. So now we just write our little sentence. By the way, the slope is positive. That means we have positive association. So what we can write is this. As the number of hours worked increases by 1 hour, the amount of money spent on entertainment or the amount of money spent increases. This time we're going to go by delta y by $1.88. So what we're seeing is, just like before, those two numbers in your slope, you're going to reference them. You're going to say, hey, as that X quantity, the number of hours, increases by the 1 down there, that's your denominator, your Y value, because we have positive slope, increases also. The amount of money spent increases by $1.88. The y-intercept. Well, again, you have y equals 1.88x plus 11.24. Remember, you have y equals mx plus b, and your b is equal to 11.24. And guys, that means we've got 0, 11.24. So how do we interpret this? We could say at 0 hours worked, we predict, because again, this is a line of best fit, $11.24 is spent on entertainment. So lines of best fit are 100% used for predictions, and that's why we can, write that it's a prediction.